Studio 16 at Rockefeller Center in the heart of New York City. It's the Tonight Show. Tonight, join Jimmy and his guests, Will Smith, musical guest, U2, and featuring the legendary Roots Crew. And now, here's your host.
So, for tonight's show, I decided to spice things up a little and move away from the regular setting and take the show outside to enjoy the beauty of nature. For today's show, we have a special literature edition. We have two special guests here tonight to give us insight on modernism and postmodernism. Please welcome the world-renowned critics, the great Saad Khan and Tiffany. The two wonderful books we'll be looking at today are Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf and The Wind-Up Bird Chronicle by Haruki Murakami. Please remind me, what exactly did you guys want to bring up today?
Well, when I read the books, I noticed the characters spend the majority of their time dreaming or daydreaming. So, in short, looking at dream states in the two books. Mrs. Dalloway represents modernism, and The Wind-Up Bird Chronicle represents postmodernism. The characters in the respective books experience a sort of formal reality and a reality in their own minds and dreams.
Yeah,
Dream states.
I think I agree with you because I read both books and I felt that the stories were fragmented. So I was left hanging all the time.
That is very true. I totally feel the same way, Muhammad. The idea of fragmentation in dreams is an important element throughout the books. The readers are left with so many questions and there are so many cliffhangers throughout the book, as no idea is really complete in the novel, but they occur in fragments throughout. This is why I think the books are so praiseworthy. My favorite example of fragmentation in The Wind-Up Bird is when Teru dreams about the mysterious woman and creates a cano. The dreams happen all over the novel and they end abruptly, leaving the readers questioning what these dreams mean and how they're related to the story.
Alright, so I think it's pretty clear that the books are pretty unpredictable, right? Do you remember any examples of this?
Well, Teru dreams about both of them in the beginning of book 2, where Crescent is wearing Kimiko's dress, and ends suddenly as the dream is taking place. Then, without warning, it just suddenly happened. In the book, it said a white flash went through the darkness, and then the dream just ended there. He dreams of the mysterious woman again when he is down in the well, and many more times later in the book. These dreams are fragmented as they appear short and incomplete throughout the novel, rather than in one continuous narration. It's as if pieces of the entire dream were broken off and scattered throughout the novel.
Well, isn't that interesting? And very postmodern. How do you find that in Mrs. Dalloway?
Well, the daydreams in Mrs. Dalloway are also fragmented. The characters in this book repeatedly daydream of their past, and these, just like the dreams in The Wind-Up Bird, are scattered throughout the book in short pieces. So, for example, I think there was a time, I think Peter Walsh daydreams about how Clarissa did not accept his marriage proposal after he meets her in London. Later on, he continues to think about Clarissa, such as when he is in Regent's Park, trying to convince himself that he does not love her. It's such a tragic love story. These dreams occurring in repeated fragments throughout the book is a classic characteristic of modernism and postmodernism writing.
Oh, you are clearly an expert. That's absolutely true. The dreams and reflections are very fragmented in both books, and it shows how subjective reality is. Now let's talk about the nature of the dreams. Saad, the great Saad, what do these characters dream about?
Mrs. Dalloway, I feel that the dreams are reflections on the past. The characters often ask themselves, what could have happened if they changed their past actions? Essentially, what are the implications in the time continuum of an alternate decision? For example, Clarissa Dalloway kisses Peter Walsh to soothe him when he bursts into tears. She then reflects into the past, thinking about what would have happened if she married Peter instead of Richard. Would she be happier, sadder, or indifferent with a different spouse? Those are the type of questions Clarissa asks herself. On the other hand, Peter imagined what would have happened if Clarissa didn't reject him.
What do you think would have happened?
Well, I think he likely wouldn't be following around pretty girls in London, observing them and then fantasizing about them. He might not have left Oxford. He definitely had a lot of potential. but all that potential rests buried in the past, which makes sense because they are modernist anti-heroes, and modernist anti-heroes are characteristically, they lack a sense of agency. This means they feel powerless since the past is irreversible.
How did you feel about the Wind-Up Bird Chronicles, Hod?
In the Wind-Up Bird Chronicle, it is different because dreams and reality often become one. There's no distinction between a dream and what's actually happening. For example, Toru dreams and hopes that Nobuo Wataya is taken down. In the end of the book, this sort of prophecy comes true as Kumiko goes to unplug her brother's life support. Another example is when Toru dreams that he sleeps with Keita Kano, the mine prostitute, and he does so despite being a married man. This really shows how chaotic the postmodernist world is. Imagine if one couldn't distinguish dreams from reality. There would just be total anxiety in the future because one would never be sure if their actions would have real implications.
Absolutely. The great Saad Khan. These two books definitely represent modernism and postmodernism very clearly. Thank you, Saad and Tiffany, for sharing your expert perspectives on these two interesting books.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome.
Okay, everyone, we'll see you after the break with another special guest on today's The Tonight Show with Mohammed.
Interrupt the Tonight Show to bring you the brand spanking new 4th edition of Mrs. Dalloway. It's guaranteed to make you enlightened, depressed, and even more depressed. Call 1-800-Dalloway for your copy now.
Welcome back, everyone. Now, our next guest is a huge fan of both books, and she's here tonight to provide us with an ordinary reader's perspective on the two books. Please welcome Atika Hali. So, Atika, here we have two award-winning books that have left readers speechless. When you first read these books, what were the things that struck you?
Well, in both books, the characters all constantly switch between realities and their dreamlike states. In Mrs. Dalloway, Clarissa often dreams about her past and her future, while Toru dreams about her present circumstances. Both characters slip away into their conscious and half-conscious states to better understand themselves. It's there that they find themselves expressing their most innermost thoughts. When Kumiko leaves Toru without a trace, Toru desperately tries to find her, but not in the actual world. He finds solutions in his dreams. He finds out why she leaves him, who she is, and what did he do wrong. Similarly, Clarissa often doubts herself and the decisions that she had made.
You know, that's exactly what I felt as well. I read both books, and as I was reading the Wind-Up Bird Chronicle, I noticed a lot of elements that were also found in Mrs. Dalloway, right? Such as the epiphanic states that Clarissa and Toru both undergo. Clarissa and Toru both have problems, and they spend the majorities of their respective books trying to address those problems. Clarissa struggles with her identity and role in society as a high-class hostess. It's typical in modernist literature of the quote, "You are not who you think you are." Clarissa faces this problem as Peter Walsh, Richard Dalloway, and even herself question her trivial role as a hostess.
Exactly. In the Wind-Up Bird Chronicles, Toru explored the reality in his world predominantly through his dream states. These dream states provided him with a better picture of his own reality. This is because the dreams and reality in the Wind-Up Bird Chronicles blend together in a weird way. Toru finds himself confused not necessarily about what he dreams, but about how these dreams affect his reality. His dreams feel almost too real at times, and the fact is that they are real. They affect his reality in the most complete and physical way.
But how does it affect him physically?
Well, when Toru lives in the well for a few days, he dreams about the mysterious day with the lady on the phone. The lady, after kissing him, pushes him through a wall to escape. He feels an intense heat on his right cheek and passes through the wall to wake up on the other side of the wall, and he calls it the bottom of the deep well. Later, after looking in the mirror, he realizes that the heat on his right cheek left a deep blue mark that neither gave him pain nor any sensation. Here, Murakami showed the boundary between reality and dreams slowly dissolving. Both the real and the unconscious state affected his reality with equal weight. Toru himself says that in the bottom of the well he had a dream, but it was not a dream. It was something that happened to take a form of a dream.
I think I agree, and a great section of the chronicles take place in the well, right? What do you think is the significance of the well in the story?
Well, the well also becomes a major symbol in the book. It acts like a gateway to his dream state. The well was where his dreams had a strange sense of significance, and he was able to grasp onto his dreams with his hands.
How was your experience with Virginia Woolf's Mrs. Dalloway?
Mrs. Dalloway is different in that the dreams states do not really affect the reality of the characters in any profound way. Clarissa dreams about her past and about her future, about where she could be in life if she had made different decisions. The reality exists as a distinct experience from her dreams because she cannot change the past nor predict the future. This is a key characteristic of the modernist society. Clarissa looks for meaning in her life through recalling memories, looking into the past. Reality is separate from dreams, while in postmodernism, reality and dreams are interconnected and affect each other in physical ways.
I absolutely agree. In the Wind-Up Bird Chronicle, Toru's problems are based on his relationships with others. His wife abandons him, his cat runs off, he's unemployed and doesn't even want a job. And he hates Kimiko's brother and wants to take him down. The violence and sense of doom that we see in Toru's life are both typical of postmodernist literature, and Toru is probably reflecting on his doomed life at the bottom of the well.
Right, I really loved how the characters in both books learned more about themselves through their dreams. Clarissa feels extremely anxious about her past and future, while Toru is anxious about his present.
I think Toru and Clarissa both go through moments of realization. Postmodern techniques such as paradox are found in Toru's epiphanic moment, right? And he finds enlightenment in the bottom of the well. The well acts as a symbol of it's through darkness that he finds enlightenment, and it's kind of a paradox. He finds himself down the dark well, and he reflects on life, including the memories he had with, such as Kimiko's abortion, right? After the time he spends down the well, he comes out like a changed man, and realizes that he must not stop looking for Kimiko. Similarly, Clarissa also struggled with identity, and she kind of resolved that through Septimus's death. It acted as a symbol of her realization of the importance of life. Epiphanic states are typical of modernist literature, and Clarissa's epiphany comes when she realizes that pleasing society isn't so important. Septimus's death was to preserve his identity, and Clarissa realized that this is what is most important. She now knows that she doesn't have to place importance on the wrong things, such as trying to please everyone with her pardons.
The modernist society in Mrs. Dalloway was shown looking for meaning in their lives, hoping they would find it when they dwell on the past. In the postmodernist society, characters are looking at how their meaning in life is constructed. That's why I love these books so much. They convey these art movements so well. I wish I could just meet Virginia Woolf and Merlin.
Okay, that's enough, Akiko. You can go now. Okay, everyone, I think that's enough for today's Tonight Show with Muhammad. We'll see you next time back in our usual stage. Thank you.